there, it's Natasha and thank you so much for joining me today. I have this kind of, I don't even know how to explain it. It's almost like a really thin fabric or a delicate paper, like a handmade paper. It kind of reminds me of rice paper actually. But these are all the patterns that I'm quickly showing you, and I think you get 4 of each one. Some of them are a little more see-through than others, and they all have these gorgeous patterns and designs. Now, I got these from AliExpress, and I will link to them down below in case you are interested. I really appreciate it when you shop using my links. But I got these in, and I just really wanted to kind of have a play with them. Now, I guess I feel like there's the obvious uses for these, which would be fun as well. However, I kind of wanted to add a little bit of color to them today and see if I could change it up just a little bit. So I was sort of having a look at them and having a hard time choosing the design that I wanted to use today. But I ended up going with this one here, and I know it's kind of hard to see on the white paper, but that'll change in a minute. I'm going to use some VersaFine Clair. This is the Monarch color. And I just want to get a really nice layer on the back here. So I don't want there to be any like really harsh lines, but I'm going to use a sponge roller to sponge on the color. Now the other cool way I thought that you might be able to do this is using maybe a gel plate. I wasn't sure if that would come off cleanly. The paper is pretty delicate. But yeah, I kept testing it on a white piece of paper because I wanted to know just how much that color was going to kind of show through. Then I have a scrap piece of paper here, and I'm just adding some color, and I kind of want there to be lots of, darker pieces and lighter pieces, lots of differentiation across the piece of paper so that I could choose where I wanted to die cut out some bits and pieces. Now I have really gotten into using these foam rollers recently. If I wanted a nice even blend, I have found them a really good way to achieve that. And you can see here with the delicate paper, I am actually going to put the inked side face down, and that way the pattern will show through nicely. Then I'm going to move on to using some of the summertime color. This is a orange color, and I think I didn't explain in the last video when I was using these foam rollers that you can just detach the foam part of this and then wash them out in some water in the sink or whatever, and you can reuse them and again. I did find that the white foam stained a little bit, but that didn't contaminate the color at all. So yeah, it was fine. And again, I'm just trying to get a little bit of variation in color, a little bit darker spots and lighter spots with this orangey color. So now I have my 2 panels here, and I have these stitched square dies, and I want 2 to go together because I just want to create the outline here. So I'm putting a little bit of low-tack tape just under the corners, and then I will center the the smaller one into the middle. And then I'm going to run that through my die cutting machine in the orange color. So I guess I could have used either of these colors, but I want to use the orange because the background of my delicate paper will already be purple. So I'm just figuring out what I want here. I'm going to keep that inside square also. And from here I have these 4 little kind of foliage leaves. And I'm going to die cut these out quite a few times in both the orange and the purple color. Now through the magic of editing, I can spare you that. I also went ahead and die cut out some of the foliage in the silver mirror cardstock also, just because I found it kind of broke up the color a little bit more. So you can see that I die cut out plenty of them, and I don't end up using them all, but these always go in my scraps pile for other projects. Then I have this little sentiment die here, and I also cut that out of some silver mirror cardstock, and this has some double-sided tape on the back. I think it's the scrapbook.com double-sided adhesive I used on the back of here. So I'm just going to gently peel it off and then use a little pokey tool to poke out all of those little bits that were stuck in the middle there, just the insides of the letters and things. I cut the background on some vellum, and I'm just going to adhere that mirror cardstock sentiment down onto it. And this way it'll just help it stick out a little bit more from that orange square that's in the center. Now that I've kind of got all my bits and pieces together, I want to start putting together my card. And I have a 110 pound Nina Solar White card base. And I cut down the delicate handmade paper to about 4 by 5 1/4, I think. I'm using a little bit of liquid glue. This is the Ranger Multi-Medium in the matte finish, and I have it in a glue bottle, which is from AliExpress, my favorites as always. I'm using some little foam squares to adhere just really the corners, because I know I want to pop some of those foliage pieces in behind the square. So I don't want to close up all of the corners and make it so that I can't pop the ends of the foliage in. Now, there is the back that I inked, so remember that the inked side is face down, and I am just putting glue behind all of those solid pieces of cardstock, and that way you won't be able to see behind it at all. So then I just have a little play around, pop some of these bits and pieces in, and kind of make sure I have a nice variance of colours and different shapes of the foliage and things. So you just have a play around and kind of see what looks good to your eye, and it's not too tricky. Some of them you can cut down a little bit or make some a little bit longer, and that way different lengths and heights is always good when you're kind of making a little collection of the foliage coming out either corner. So I do actually lift up those little foam squares and pop things underneath them and rearrange. It's always good when you are not sure where things are going to pop them down super lightly, and that way if you need to, it's nice and easy to lift them up and pop things underneath. I am adding a little bit of liquid glue, just squirting some under there as well, so that I know that it's got a really good seal. So my card is coming together, and just for the last final touches, I'm going to pop that sentiment on the front. And I really enjoyed using this kind of really delicate paper today. It was something a little bit different for me and a little bit different in my card making. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will have the links down in the description box below. Let me know what you think. Thanks, bye!